Welcome to emergency episode 45. Devin Williams traded to the New York Yankees in exchange for Nestor Cortes and minor league prospect Caleb Durbin from coming over from New York. So big news out of Milwaukee here on December 13th. Brewers, I would say, making moves. One of the moves that has happened since we last talked was Willy Adames headed out to San Fran. So that's not a move that the Brewers made, but things are going on in Milwaukee that are relevant to the squad. First reaction to the Devin Williams trade news.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, right? We had a nice argument, and we is that a no caffeine Diet Coke?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yeah, you better watch that. Anyways, um, uh, we talked about if Willie or Devin would be on the roster opening day. We both thought it was unlikely. One of us thought one was more likely than the other, and it turns out we were right at the start of the conversation, wasted a bunch of time, and neither of them had a shot. Um, it, I mean, it's not, I don't think anyone's going to say, like, I love this deal and freak out over it. But at the same time, um, the strongest position group on this team is probably our bullpen. And we got back a quality starter and added a little utility depth, I think, along the way. We can go into it a little bit more, but I don't know. No one seems to be heartbroken, right? There's a couple people that seem upset that it's the endless loop of the Brewers losing their best players to retool, blah blah blah. But this one's a little bit different, and I don't know. I'm not surprised, and I should note that Kian was just too heartbroken to even get on a mic today. So we don't have his probably extremely negative insights to bring us down.
Oh, Kian, we love you, Kian. Yeah, I mean I didn't think Willy Adames was coming back, and we'll talk about that later. But mostly touching on this deal, like you said, it kind of makes sense, and I don't know that we're blown away by the return, but I will say when I first saw the deal, and I obviously didn't know who Caleb Durbin was, but I did know who
Idiot.
Nestor Cortes was, and I thought, well, Devin Williams is 1 year of a closer, which as good of a closer as he is, even though he's had his hiccups, um, a pitcher who threw I think 174 innings last year at a sub four ERAs is arguably more valuable, or almost certainly more valuable to a team, you would think. Um, and then when you go and look at Durbin's stats, spent half a season in AAA last year, slash 287, 396, 471, and then drove in 60 runs and was 29 for 32 in stolen bases. He also played all over the field, mostly infield. And then in the Arizona Fall League, added another 29 stolen bases in 24 games. So um, the man stole 60 bases there in a total of like 120 games. So I'll, to me, it profiles as before I know anything about his glove, it profiles as like a right-handed hitting Tyler Black. So
Yeah, it looks like he plays literally everywhere.
yeah, and a lot of stolen bases and not like a plus plus power bat, but looks like a little bit of pop, but a lot of speed. And that said, we're high on Tyler Black, and he knowingly does not have a great glove. If this kid has at least an average glove, he could be um something special. And obviously, I'm super optimistic right now, but just to say that when I saw it was Nestor, I thought, oh, okay, that's all right. And now that I see the prospect we got too, is I feel like we won the deal. Not that the Yankees they may have gotten what they need, but I feel like it was a good move for us personally.
Yeah, I think it was a win-win. Yankees clearly wanted to add some pen depth, and they got one of the best closers in baseball. And we added a starter that we're gonna need to eat innings. Um, and yeah, kind of. I think I forgot who it was. Maybe Passon. One of them described him as a high floor prospect, which I think is true, right?
Yeah,
His eye tool, it looks like I think he has more walks than strikeouts in his
yeah,
pro career.
12.5% walk rate and a 9.9%
Yeah.
strikeout rate in AAA.
So a dude with wheels who gets on base, it seems like at least pretty well so far in his career, at least gives a floor, right? I was texting a different friend group, I guess, talking about the Brewers, and um, I think he kind of jokingly said better than Monasterio. He might have been serious, but the way it came off sounded really negative. Like, oh, he might be a better Monasterio. But at the same time, if we can upgrade a all-around utility guy that's going to be on the roster for a whole season or something like that, it's still a valuable tool. And that's his floor, like I was saying, I think. So
Mhm.
if that's truly his floor and at minimum, we're getting a piece that we use, and at maximum, a productive infielder, I think I like it. And like we said too, um, Nestor also is in that last year ARB. He'll make a little bit less, I think, than Devin, or is making a little bit less than Devin will make. Um, and both of them, I think, will get, maybe Nestor even gets a bigger contract. It really depends on how the season shakes out, but I'm imagining we get a comp back as well. So we're not losing the comp. Um, and yeah, we're gaining a lot more innings pitched out of Nestor than we're going to get out of Devin.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. About the infielder and the Monasterio comp, just because. Um,
And yeah, not even
oh,
comp necessarily.
no,
Yep.
right,
Just
yeah, that's
yeah,
the
I
wrong way to
don't.
put it. Not
Yeah.
comp. The way you laid it out though, and the fact that it's 6 or 7 years of
Yep.
club control. So
It did suck though when
yeah,
I looked him up and you see he's like some lists had him as like a mid-30s overall prospect in the Yankees org, and you're like, oof. When some
yeah.
of the other main personalities were like, yeah, Yankees have pretty good top five prospects. We
Hmm.
scope one of those out and blah blah blah. So didn't get that, but I don't know. This was a guy I think they just moved onto their 40 to protect.
Yeah.
So they at least thought highly enough of him. And like I think I tweeted, I if I recall correctly, there were some rumblings that Nestor was maybe in in talks to be in a flip at the deadline for D
Yeah.
or I think for Williams. I'm assuming. And we didn't, I guess, take it then. And then, as it turns out, Nestor and Devin Williams had very similar endings to their
Yeah.
seasons or playoff
Yeah.
runs. But yeah,
I also think that um to your point, like about not getting a top prospect, I feel like anyone who thinks that the Brewers, oh dang, we didn't get a top prospect for Devin Williams, I don't think that would have ever been on the table for 1 year of a closer. It's just not gonna happen. I mean, he'll probably throw
yeah,
60 innings this year and then be a free agent. So I don't know.
yeah. But you say that, but then in the Hater deal, I know it was an extra half year, but
He also how did I phrase this? He looked like he could have been a multi-inning reliever. So he obviously did not do it, but
yeah, yeah. I don't
they
know.
probably imagined that he was gonna be having 8 strikeout outings and
Yeah,
such. But yes, I agree with you. Like I did see one person commented on my post about Durbin's stats and said another guy with no power, no solid position, and then said and a rental starting pitcher, blah blah blah. I agree that Nestor is not a huge needle mover. He may cover some innings for us, but I don't know. I wouldn't look at Durbin as a no power, no solid position guy. I would almost see, oh, okay, he's played left field and second, short, and third in AAA. Um, I guess that could mean that he's bad everywhere, but I would hope that would mean that he's serviceable at one of those spots. And I feel like you can play Terang or Ortiz at second or short, and then you can obviously play Ortiz at third. So I don't know. That's not how I'm looking at it. And I wouldn't say no power. He had 10 home runs in 82 games. And he drove in 60 runs in 82 games with like a 900 OPS. So I can't say it's no power. It's maybe not eye-popping power, top prospect. But it's certainly something I think we can work with. So I'm happy about it.
yeah. I think we also might have kind of acquired him to just make Sal look a little bigger in the dugout,
Yeah.
considering he's what 5'6" they said. So Sal
Yeah.
5'8", he's gonna be towering over him.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And all the all the talk about South Philly playing third base last offseason and still hasn't happened. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it could now,
yeah,
but
we still don't
I'm just
know
saying it's
if
just funny
Durbin's
that
gonna be like a opening day starter type thing. I think we definitely still have our eyes on the market, right? He's just a
yeah.
tool to add to our I don't know, positional depth there. But like I said, at least a high floor. Like I could see him contributing in the major leagues at some point. It just is a matter of level that contribution is. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's a good deal. I think Nestor should profile pretty well with us. Um, I think he, from what I recall of his style, obviously doesn't throw the hardest, right? Pitches to some contact, but I think he gives up a fair amount of fly balls, so we'll have to see how that plays out at the friendly confines at AmFam, but I still think he'll be fine. Um, I know in the playoffs he gives up fly balls, right? That go over the fence. Yeah.
He
He's
does.
got that
Yeah.
in common.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of the friendly confines, sounds
Yeah,
like
dude, I keep seeing this. I don't
sounds
even
like
get
Kyle
like
Tucker to
I
the
don't like
Cubs
that. Yeah, I don't like that one
is
bit.
gonna be happening. It seems
I'm
the more and
yeah,
more you say, which sucks because he's really, really good.
yeah.
All right, we're back.
Oh, I lost you for a second.
You froze for a
Yeah.
second.
Yep, you froze for me as well. Um, yeah, no, I don't want that to happen. And the return, I feel like I don't know. I feel like for Kyle Tucker, you got to give up a lot. To me, he's like a top five player in the league, basically.
hmm Yeah, yeah, I agree.
For
Um,
Paredes and freaking, yeah, I don't know.
we should probably touch on Willie real quick. I know we're not doing a long episode, but we hadn't had a chance to do another episode, so we should say farewell to Willie. He got paid over 7 years, and I would be willing to bet the Brewers came not too close to that number. And as much as I'll miss him, um, does seem like the glove is starting to decline a tiny bit. He is not extremely young anymore, and 26 million a year is a little uncomfy for us. So as much as it sucks and we wish him the best, I'm not too heartbroken to see him go. For that's just the reality of being a small market team, and he probably would have handcuffed us too much. So it's a
Yep.
bummer, but
Yep, I totally agree. I think his like long-term profile just probably did not fit what we have to do here. And I don't know, he's awesome, but we can use that money elsewhere. We have a lot of good weapons on the infield, and I mean, he was really good last year, but there were definitely times too in his career that it was hard sometimes when he'd go out and strike out three of his four at bats in a game when he's not on. Now that's anybody, but
yeah,
um, yeah, he was a positive Brewer, and I saw something on X or Twitter. And someone was complaining because they're like, "Oh, I have to watch another farewell video of a player before they retire, blah blah blah." But it's
yeah,
like, I mean, I know as a fan, I guess you want to see a guy finish his career with your team, but like very rarely is someone actually good for like the last 4 years they're playing. Like
yeah. We
by
do
the
avoid a
time they
lot.
leave, if you keep a guy that long, by the time they leave, you don't think of him as highly, right? You're like, thank God this guy's finally gone. So it's I don't want to say refreshing, but the fact that we lost Willie, honestly, probably at his peak, it's like
hmm
I don't know if that's true, but
Yeah,
um,
it is. It is heartbreaking sometimes, but to your point, like we do we don't it's not often that we're like, oh my gosh, this contract sucks ass. Like that's sticking around. So that's the trade-off of
well,
being
every guy that
a
we
small
do
market
sign to
team.
stick around, no matter what, they people complain. See Ryan Braun and Christian Yelich, guys who
Yep.
won literal MVPs, and then
Yep.
people still will complain. So
And took cheap deals relative to
yeah,
what was going on. So yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. But all right. Well, that's two big moves checked off the board for the Brewers that were pretty much, well, there was decisions to be made with both of them, and they're done now. Now we're looking more at like what's going to happen with maybe Aaron Savali. Obviously, smaller scope there, but then you have to imagine the Brewers are going to bring in at least one other infielder, or surprise us with something else. So we'll see. But so we got Devin Williams as a Yankee.
yep, yeah. Winter meetings cracking on, so just I don't know, keep your eyes on the social medias and stay in tune. But yeah, I think um, we have a lot of flexibility for what we can add between second, third, or short. And like we said, there's still Tyler Black. There's still we have a lot of depth. Like I don't know, we don't have to make a move, but obviously as a fan, you want to see us make a move to add someone with a little more upside than what we might have. But yeah, we're in a good spot and some roster gymnastics probably still to go, but it's lining up pretty good for another solid Brewers season that likely ends in heartbreak and defeat.
Yeah. All
Sorry,
right.
I had to channel my inner Coach
Yeah.
Keen.
Yeah. All right. Go Brewers.
Go Brewers.